With November fastly approaching, it is about time for me to do my monthly meal planning. So I plan a whole month of meals all at once to simplify the whole month. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, different recipes that I want to try. I put that all down on my trusty desk calendar. And then for the whole month, I have meals and where to find the recipes for them all set. So I'm going to show you how I do it. The first part in planning my meals for the month is finding recipes. This is the really fun part of meal planning because you get to look at all these different recipes that you get to try or want to try in the future. So I find a lot of my recipes in cookbooks that I own or on Pinterest. So for the cookbooks that I own, you can see that I have some tabbed pages on for recipes that I really want to try. So you can go through once and pinpoint all of the recipes that you want to try and then do all of them periodically, or you can pinpoint them as you go along. Finding recipes on Pinterest is also a lot of fun, but it takes a little bit more work in my opinion. So what I've done is on Pinterest, I have organized my boards. So I have boards for all different types of cuisines and different types of meals. So sometimes I break them out into like packed lunches or breakfast or appetizers and soups, and I organize it that way. And then my top two boards on it are this month's meals and next month's meals. So what I have started doing is, as I plan my monthly meal menu, I will move the recipes that I'm going to use, the pins that I use for that month with those recipes, over to this month's meals. And then as I finish them, if I like them, I move them into the category board that they fit into. And if I don't, I delete them. And then as I go through the month leading up to the next month, I do next month's meals. So that's things that I see that I'm like, oh, I wish I could try this soon. So I'm gonna schedule that in for next month. And that's a really great way to take out all of the effort that it takes in one sit down. So I am gradually compiling recipes throughout the month or the multiple months, because if I don't schedule them into my plan, I have them at my disposal for future months coming up. So that makes it really easy. The next step, once you have your recipes ready, is to organize it. I have found that a desktop calendar works best for me. You might find that something else works well for you. So this works great for me because I can see the whole month all at once. And I put in each day, I do B, L, and D for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I write the meal in it. And then this is great because it has additional areas for notes on the side, and that's where I put any additional recipes that I want to try or snacks that don't necessarily fit into a specific meal. So this is a great snapshot of how I am able to see everything I'm going to eat for that month. Okay, so I filled in a couple of my meals for the first week just to show you how I organize it with my color coding. So if you can see here, I have a color that is specifically for each meal, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I fill in what meals I have. And then I have a second color that I use to say where the recipe can be found. So this is really great for when you have multiple people making the recipes, so that if I'm busy and dinner needs to be made, my husband can look at this menu and say, okay, I need to look at Pinterest. Then he goes to this month's meal board and he can find that exact recipe, and it makes it super simple for us to have our meals on time with little to no effort. So I have these two, and then I have a third color, and this color I will put a dot next to it to make sure I've put all of the ingredients on the grocery list, just so that I know that I'm not missing anything. The next step is figuring out what meals you're going to pair on each day. So I know I struggled in the beginning figuring out what meals I was going to put together for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I like a lot of varieties, light foods and heavy foods for what meals you're going to have as a heavier meal, and I consider my training plan. So for instance, on Tuesdays, I do speed workouts, so I know that I have a run in the morning, so I'm going to do a smoothie in the morning. But then I want something that's going to help replenish me in the afternoon after I eat my morning snack, and that's gonna be pasta with salmon. So I get some carbs and some proteins in. And then for dinner, I am gonna have vegan sloppy joes. So that's going to help me continue to recover and feel full through the night. Or for Saturday, let's say, Saturday the 7th, I know that we are having a family event. We're doing an outdoor early Thanksgiving celebration before it gets too cold. So I know that I'm gonna want a light breakfast, so scrambled eggs. We're gonna have a meal that my sister is cooking and bring to us in little to-go containers. So I'm not really sure what all that entails, but I know that it's probably going to be a little bit heavier than I would typically eat. So for dinner, we're gonna do slow cooker Brussels sprouts, and we might add a protein if we need to supplement some more macros, calories at the end of the day if we haven't already gotten them through the meal that she cooks. And then since we're getting together on a Saturday, I know that I'm gonna be doing my long run on Sunday, so I know I'm gonna do a protein shake in the morning before my run. I know that for lunch I need something large, and I know that one of my favorite meals afterwards is chia pudding, and I have a AM Superfoods bowl that I love from one of my cookbooks, and I know that that's about 900 to 1,000 calories, so that'll be a great recovery meal for me. And then I'm gonna have more of those slow cooker Brussels sprouts, but we're gonna add chicken, and we might add another side dish too, depending on how hungry I really am. So that is how I format it, and you can figure this out. I mean, it took a lot of trial and error I've been doing this since February, so it takes a lot of time to get used to what works for you, and that's just something you get with practice. Now I have finished and filled out my entire month. I have all my meals with where to find them throughout the month on this side, and then I have a couple of the recipes that I've pinpointed for desserts and the different breads that I'm gonna need, because we are trying to bake all of the breads that we need instead of buying them. One, it's just a lot of fun to make your own, and we bought a lot of yeast so that we can do that, and I'll probably add some more snacks as it gets closer to the month. And I have I have one meal that I haven't pinpointed an actual recipe for because I'm not sure what I'm gonna want. I'm kind of leaving that open, which is something that you can do if you know that you're gonna eat out or you have an event or something along those lines. Same thing with Thanksgiving. I'm planning a whole day of Thanksgiving themed meals for Jerome and I, so I'm just leaving that open because I haven't decided on anything yet, but I know that those are special days. Everything else is planned. And another thing I wanted to touch on is with planning out the meals, I always look at the servings for each recipe, and I make sure that I have listed it for that number of servings. That helps us with portion control and making the most out of the food that we have. Then there's less waste, because then you have planned out when you're gonna eat your leftovers so that they don't go bad before you get to them. That is what I have here. Now I'm gonna show you how I make my grocery list. So for my grocery list, we have been doing 1 to 2 weeks at a time. So at this time, I'm just gonna do a week, and it'll be the first week of November. I go into our shopping list. We use a Google Keep sheet that is shared between my husband and I, so that we can, either one of us, if we go to the grocery store separately, or if we're together and only one of us wants to have their phone out and the other one is grabbing all the stuff off the shelf, that works great. So I'll just add in the things that I go through and I see that I need. Okay, so I have a very vague list in here right now. Now I'm going to go into more depth, look at all of these recipes, and I'm going to put down the exact amounts. The first 7 days of November into our shopping list. So I have it set up so that I have everything in the order in which we go through the grocery store, and then I have the amounts of everything that we need next to it so that we know that we're getting enough. That's all for me on meal planning for your next month. I hope this video is beneficial to you, whether you're meal planning for a week, 2 weeks, or a month at a time. I would love to know what meals you love to meal plan for, so please add them in the comments below. And please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I can't wait to see you next time.